Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2023, and today I want to talk to you all about love languages. You know, there was a gentleman by the name of Gary Chapman. He wrote a book about love languages, and in that book, he outlined 5 love languages that we as humans try and learn and speak. And they are as follows: words of affirmation, physical touch, gift giving, acts of service, and quality time. You know, I want to add to that and kind of expound upon that because I've noticed that in my personal relationships, I feel like there are 2 love languages that are oftentimes overlooked, and that's consideration and also sacrifice. I think a lot of times people don't realize just how much those two play a role in the longevity of relationships and friendships too. Um, For me, I realize that consideration goes a very, very long way. When you feel considered, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel as though somebody is factoring you into the equation of their happiness, and they're also considering your happiness. Now, with sacrifice, you see that they're sacrificing their time, their energy, their resources to try and be with you, to try to make you happy. And that right there is definitely necessary. When you see somebody sacrificing in a relationship, it makes you feel closer to them. It makes you feel like they really genuinely care about you. You know, I realize that as I get older, consideration is playing a very, very pivotal role in my life. I realize that a lot of people in this day and age are just not considerate. They don't factor you in. They just move either silently without considering your feelings at all, or they just they don't care. They don't care how you feel. And I'm thinking, what does consideration look like in real time? Well, for me, consideration is knowing that someone is not at their best and asking yourself, what does this person need in order to be at their best? You know, the person had a hard day at work, right? You know, they might be exhausted, they might be tired. You've seen them in action before. You've also seen them depleted. You've seen them not at their best. So you factor that in, whether it's them not wanting to cook a meal when they get home. You take it upon yourself to prepare a meal and leave a note and letting them know that you care and that you see them and that you are here to replenish and to nourish them. That right there goes a long way. And I think a lot of people, they like to feel nourished and replenished. So many people demand so much from us. They're constantly pulling at us, pulling, and tugging at us. And I think oftentimes the issue is they don't replenish us. They don't fill our cup. And so what ends up happening is we feel this resentment. Over time, we feel this long-standing resentment, this residual resentment, and we don't know why we feel that way, because we're not being replenished. We're not being restored. We're not being renewed. We're not being poured into. We're not being nourished. You know, we're just expected to continue to pour out. And that right there is a lack of consideration. You know, I think as I get older, I definitely enjoy people that want to journey with me, you know, that want to share an experience with me, that want to make plans and take initiative with making plans. That right there is crucial because that's an act of consideration. Somebody that considers you enough to make plans and say, look, all you have to do is be available. That's all you have to do. Make yourself available on this stretch of time because I planned our entire itinerary. I planned our trip. I planned everything. That right there is like, whoa, okay. That person knows that I enjoy this, that, and the third, that I enjoy traveling. So they take it upon themselves to plan the excursion. Wow. Wow. And that's when you know you found somebody real. as I mentioned before, in addition to the 5 love languages, the 6 in this instance consideration, sacrifice. Sacrificing the time, energy, and resources, knowing that, okay, I may not want to go out right now, right? I may not feel like it, but I know that my friend, they have been wanting to see this band, wanting to see this group, wanting to see this performance. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to sacrifice some of my energy because I know that this is important to them. And now you also, there's a caveat to this because you also have to temper that with self-care because it's important to take care of yourself. But there comes moments in a relationship, in a friendship, where you have to make sacrifices. You may not always want to go to this particular restaurant, but it's about, once again, compromising, which is in the same family, in the same vein as sacrifice, because you may not always want to do things that your friend wants to do, but in the spirit of compromise, you say, all right, fine. You say fine. Now, if you find yourself always making concessions, always the one making compromises in a friendship or relationship, well, then you need to reevaluate because it's about mutuality, it's about reciprocity. And maybe that can be the 8th love language, mutuality and reciprocity, because that's also what's missing, So we talk about consideration, we talked about sacrifice, and mutuality and reciprocity. We could add that to the list because I think a lot of times we know when people love us when they can pour back into us, when they can reciprocate, when they can demonstrate in real time, because love sometimes is just a sentiment in people's minds. Me personally, I need to see love in action. How is your love moving through me? How is it moving through me? How is it moving through my veins? How is it moving through my spirit? Is your love making me a better person? Is your love making me grow? Is there a mutuality and a reciprocity? Is there this circle of replenishment that exists in us, in our relationship, where we both feel renewed and restored and ready to take on the day? I've seen good relationships and I've seen not so good relationships. The good relationships have managed to negotiate the concept of mutuality, the concept of reciprocity. They've managed to negotiate that in a way where both partners feel full, they feel whole, they feel safe. Safe, because also, if you are to give, you need to feel safe giving. You don't want to feel like a fool or like you're being taken for granted. Who likes that? You want to feel safe. You want to feel like, I could exhale and I can give comfortably without there being regret or remorse or me having to calculate and me having to tabulate all the sacrifices. No. There's a reciprocity, a natural and organic reciprocity, not one that's forced or that is the product of emotional blackmail or one that is cajoled where you have to kind of just always almost just beg your partner. Nah. Or you have to always remind them, well, I did this for you and I did this. No. It has to be natural. It has to be an expression of genuine love. And I think that that's what's missing. I think the reality is we get busy. We get busy and we stop investing. That's natural. We do that with ourselves. We get so busy that we stop investing in ourselves. We stop working out. We stop eating right. We stop drinking water. We stop doing our breaths. We stop enjoying life, going out. I think especially, something with COVID-19, a lot of us have stopped doing a lot of the things that we once enjoyed. So this is natural. It's natural in a relationship to have those lulls where we actually fall off and stop investing. But the thing about it is this. If you love your partner, you're going to get back on track. You're going to identify that there's something not right. There's a love language that's not being spoken here. You know, what love language is not being spoken here? Which one of my love languages are not being spoken fluently here? Which love language am I not hearing in this relationship? You know? And that requires you to first identify what your love language is. You know? Everybody's different. Everybody has a different way they understand love. So that's one. How do you understand love? You have to, for one, get in tune with yourself and sit with yourself and understand how you know you are loved. Question to ask yourself: how do I know I'm loved when I'm loved? I know I'm loved when blank. I know I'm loved when I feel loved when someone blank. I feel loved when someone does what? Asking yourself those questions are pertinent. And then also learning another person's love language too, because it's not just about you. It's about, once again, that mutuality, that reciprocity, learning how you could speak their love language comfortably. And truth is, not everybody can speak our language comfortably. A lot of people fumble around with the right words and the right feelings and the right expressions and the right actions to show us. They fumble around. They're just not. So we have to assess that, and then we have to clear space. You know, like, we can love them from afar. You can love them, that's fine, but they're not what you need to feel loved, to feel whole, to feel replenished. So you have to release them, make room for the love language that you deserve. And so I hope this video was helpful. We definitely talked about the 5 love languages, you know. And like I said, if you want to know more about that, definitely go into depth, you know, pick up that book, you know, by Gary Chapman, you know, on the love languages. I just wanted to highlight tonight those 3 additional love languages, which are, once again, mutuality, reciprocity, sacrifice, definitely that sacrifice, and lastly, consideration. You know, because I oftentimes think these 3 are what's missing from relationships. And when those ingredients are missing, you can definitely taste that something is off in your relationship. You could taste it. It doesn't feel right on the palate of your spirit. And so I encourage everyone out there to definitely examine your love language, write it down, write what it means to you, and then naturally begin to gravitate towards that energy. And don't settle for anything less, because you deserve the best. So I hope this video was helpful. I love y'all and wish you the best. Peace, y'all.